I'll tell you guys something amazing. I'll tell you something amazing that happened last night. It has to do with our learning, actually. I couldn't believe this. I told the Chaver last night that when I was getting off the highway, off of Ayalon, you go off of Der Hashalom. That was the exit to where we had to go to. And I'm pulling up to, I already know, like, that if someone's going to come and ask for it, and whatever sign they have, like, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, just give it to them and say l'chaim. Right? Just give them some, like, they don't have to justify it. If someone's going to ask and you're going to give, just give, right? So I was about to say l'chaim. I had only a 3 shekel on me. And I get to the light, comes to the window, puts it in, and he looks at me. I'm not kidding, okay? I'm not even dramatizing this. I was one of these moments where I wish I had a body camera on me or a head camera. And the guy says to me, he's like an older guy, long hair. I saw afterwards he was wearing a yechi kippah in the back. He says to me, זה התערותא דילתתא, והתערותא דילתתא גורם להתערותא דלעילא. זה יכול עכשיו להביא את המשיח. And he walked away. כך היה. I wanted to say to him, do you know we just started learning? Ani ledodi, itaruta dilatata, dodi li, itaruta delaela. Like I wanted to say the whole thing. It was unbelievable, but it's only I don't know. It's Tel Aviv, ya habibi, Tel Aviv. There's some pages here, brothers, and also, just whoever people asked me last time. This Chassidut Mevoeret. This is the sefer we're learning out of. And I'm so glad we got to a very, very good start on Monday. Oh, a tikkun for I said in the beginning of Shir that it was my favorite Chabad nigun. It's a Rav Ginsburg nigun when we sang. We'll sing it again. Ani ledoidi v'davoidi li, Ani ledoidi v'davoidi li, Ani ledoidi v'davoidi li. Ani ledoidi v'davoidi li, 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 Ani ledoidi v'davoidi li. Okay, one more service announcement. Next Thursday night lights, Thursday night fire, Thursday night everything. We're gonna have hey, Boker Tov Chevra. We should get, one second, bring more chairs. Come more chairs here, Chevra. Okay, next Thursday night, there's going to be a special it's like Slichas is for us, is the next month is the following Motzei Shabbos. Slackers. For the slackers, it's the following Motzei Shabbos. There's a wonderful, 2 years ago, Rabbi Yaakov Klein, or a year ago, Rabbi Yaakov Klein gave me a sefer from this Mechaber, Rabbi Emanuel Bernstein, titled, just like this, right? A Guide for the Mind and Heart during Elul Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. Listen, Chaver dropping off Sfarim all the time. This one is so clear. It's just so... He's going to bring this with him, and you can check him out online. And he's going to come and give us a nice shmooze next Thursday night. So that's... I want you all to jot down, and then we're already planning our pre-Slichos event and Slichos. Now the rush really begins, but this is really the... This is the hachana for everything. So, just a quick recap. A quick recap is as follows. Kacha. This whole concept of Hamelech Basada, the king is in the field, is something that we saw where it comes from. Where does it originate from? The mashal of the Alter Rebbe describing the situation that we find ourselves with HaKadosh Baruch Hu during the month of Elul, Hamelech Basada. In a nutshell, in the Perek Aleph of this Maimer, that's really what we were speaking about. I'm going to read a Kitzur Perek Aleph that they have in these Sfarim. It says that the essence of Chodesh Elul is Ani Ledodi. Man coming close to Hashem because of his own hishtadlut. Yir Ani Ledodi, itaruta dilatata. My arousal, my awakening, what I am working on. The Taharat Peh, like purifying my mouth. Taharat Einayim, purifying my eyes. Taharat Dibur, obviously. The words I'm saying, the kavod I give to people. This is Ani Ledodi. Only in Tishrei the Dodi Li comes down, even though that Chodesh Elul has within it something incredible, which is called the He'ara Yud Gimel Midos Rachmim. The 13 attributes of mercy is what shines during this month. It's not a hitgalut, it's not a revelation of godliness like Malchut, which is Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Now, this isn't adding up for you. Listen to the first year, because that's really, we went through it in a pretty thorough way. Baruch Hashem, I was very, very thankful for how we went through it. So, the revelation of Hashem that comes in Elul gives help to do tshuva, to do work. But it's not the revelation of what Malchus does, which is kingdom. And he ends off here and he says, this is like the mashal of a king going out to the field in order so that each of us can go and mekabel his panim. Kabbalah's panim. Like yesterday, someone asked me, 2 nights ago, I was at a wedding, and someone came up to me and said, is this a Kabbalah's panim? So I said to him, I don't know, you tell me. Meaning, I was trying to be cute, like Kabbalat panim. Are you receiving my face right now? Are you receiving, It was a Chabadsker. I thought I could mess with him. I thought he was holding with the mimers. So it took him a while. I'm like, Kabbalat panim, right? That's real. But this Alter Rebbe is saying Elul is a Kabbalas panim. In America, what do they call the Kabbalas panim? Smorgasbord, right? And mamish people are filling their panim with things like it's no one's business. Reb Chaim, a smorgasbord at the Sands Hotel puts to shame any kiddush that has ever taken place in right? Bachitzonius, any of these places, right? All garnish, all shtuyot. Shemikol makom ein hamelech misgale sham b'chol yofrio uveromemuso. Yeah, the king is in the field. He's not wearing his royal garments, but he's in the field. Where is he wearing his royal garments? Where the royal garments are being adorned, in the Kodesh Kodashim, in the Armon, in the palace. Therefore, mitam zeh yemei Chodesh Elul is one of the reasons why we answered the Alter Rebbe's question. If Elul is so gewalt and it's such a hitgalut of Rachamim, then why isn't it Yontiv? So it's not Yontiv because the way that Hashem reveals Himself in the month of Elul is Kivyachol. Yeah, it's more accessible, but it's in a mitzuntzam way. It's still in a contracted way. He's just revealing himself and meeting us in the field, so we're like, oh, it's kedai to get our Elul on, so that hopefully we'll receive the reshut to be welcomed into the place where he actually does wear his royal garments. And that's Tishrei, that's HaMelech. That's Melech Chafetz B'chaim, that's HaMelech HaKodesh, that's HaMelech HaMishpat, like we were describing last week, on Monday. Now, this Perek Sheni, this is, I'm sorry I don't have, I'm having trouble with my printer and it keeps on cracking down on me, but you have, okay, so, no, it's okay. No, keep one here. What these Ma'amarim are doing, and this is a very important yesod, and I'm sure, are there any more chairs here? Oh, there's one more? Shmuel, come. Take the women's section. That's usually where they What's so important about this Maimar from the Alter Rebbe is that it's Mevayer Yesodot, foundations, in not just Chabad Chassidus, in all of Chassidus Bichlal. There are things that we're going to be learning about today. Today we're probably not going to finish this whole parak, even though you see how short it is. But there are a lot of yesodot that we need to learn. And those of you that are steiging with David Aaron in the morning will have an easier time accessing these nekudas. But even if you are, and even for anyone to do chazar on these things, this is really a beautiful way of strengthening our basic understanding of how to take these very lofty concepts of elokus, of godliness, and draw them down into our hearts, lemaisa. So the tochen of this perek, like you see, the context of this perek, Keil Hashem v'yair lanu, inyan ha'yiskarvus ha'pnimis l'kadosh baruch hu, al yedei he'aras yud gimel midos rachamim. What actually happens through these 13 attributes of mercy? What do they bring to the world? What do they cause to come down into the world? So I want to start dafka today with the perush and not with the mimer. Kedei lehavin, you see on the right column? Kedei lehavin bepratiyut yoter, inyan kabbalas or panav yisbarach basar. Oh, one more thing. These are all this mimer. What we're learning is Leilui Nishmas Shalom Brat, Reb Shalom ben Yosef Ikusi Ozusha Schus Yagen Aleinu. His yahrzeit was yesterday. So kedei lehavin bepratiyut yoter inyan kabbalat or panav yitbarach basadeh. Let's understand a little bit deeper. Aside from being able to sing Hamelech basadeh, let's have kavanah when we sing it. Let's understand it a little bit more deeper. Makdim leva'er tochin inyan gilui yud gimel midot harachamim bichlal. We're going to understand, what does this mean? This will help us also with slichot. Hashem kel rachum v'chanun. What does this actually mean, this revelation of the 13 attributes of mercy? Ve'hatotza'a mizeh be'avodat ha'adam. That's more important, right? And the result of, what will it change in my Yiddishkeit? What will it change in my davening? What will it change in my Torah and mitzvahs, understanding the concept of Yud Gimel Midot HaRachamim? What will it actually change? Other than I know I'm supposed to shackle. Sash, we're on the first page, huh? Yud Dalet and the bottom over there, okay? Klomar. Lefi pshuto, inyan hisorus Yud Gimel Midot HaRachamim mashmo. According to the pshat, what does this mean? The adam achotem mevakesh rachmim sheichu par Eloha avon. When I'm a bad boy and I ask for rachmanis, I ask for rachamim, hopefully I'm being forgiven. V'chen adam shenimtza b'tzara v'tzuka umevakesh me'oreh rachmei shemaim litshua. Just like anyone that's in a bad place wants to arouse mercy from Shemaim so that there'll be a salvation. Now don't belittle that. That's also a level. But it's pshat. Omnam, al pi chasidus, with something deeper. Gilui yud gimel midos harachamim, the revelation of the 13 attributes of mercy, more al hiskarvus pnimis, ben HaKadosh Baruch Hu v'nishmas ha'adam. It alludes to an inner closeness that's taking place between the Ribono Shel Olam and us. Hapo'eles hisorerus amuka benafsho liskarev elav yisbarach. And this closeness causes a tremendous awakening in our nefesh to come closer to Him. I could relate to the month of Elul being Hamelech Basad by being like, oh, He's here. I could ask Him for Mechila because He's closer. So I just feel it's an easier access of saying, I feel really bad and I'm going to take on doing good things. And I'm going to stop doing the bad things. Don't let anyone tell you that that's shallow. It's not shallow. It's Shlav Aleph. It is true. It's just not everything at all. According to Chassidus, the Hidgalut, the revelation of the 13 Midot HaRachamim, is not there so that you could be just forgiven. It's to draw about something that's called, what David HaMelech says, is the only thing that's good in this world. What did he say? V'ani kevas Elokim litov. That's the only thing that's really considered good in this world. Closeness to the Ribono Shel Olam. Everything the Tanya is saying here and says throughout the Tanya and all this form is describing a way to use the faculties of our mind, body, heart, and soul in order to establish a relationship of kirvas Elokim, of closeness to Hashem. He's saying that is really what the Melech Basadeh is all about. The king being in the field. Not just that I could say you're forgiven, but the king is in the field to establish kirvas Elokim, closeness to the Ribono Shel Olam. Okay.
So I want to hear your opinion. I always thought that by Yidei Otam Basadeh, so that's like with first, that's where it all falls apart, right? He kills me.
Mm-hmm. So you think this is a tikkun?
Yeah, because
Could be. It's beautiful.
He felt there was no God in his life. I reached out to you and you rejected me, and I don't know what to do with myself. And I'm now in the field. And
Interesting. Let's keep on rolling that out. Where's the next time Sadeh shows up? Before that. Like, before that. Maras Machpelah, Sdei HaMachpelah, right? Sdei HaMachpelah. Rav Ginsburg has a long mimer in Parshas Chayesar just about how many times the word Sadeh is mentioned in Parshas Todos, in Parshas Chayesar. Vayitze Yitzchak l'suach b'Sadeh is right after that. Continue that. What is Yitzchak's one of his sons known to be? Ish Sadeh. This what you're bringing up keeps on showing up throughout our Torah about it, right? So maybe the bottom of it, not the bottom, but the hashlama of it is like, okay, a lot of things happened in the Sadeh, like the first murder, first time parents became bereaved parents, brother killed a brother, all the shorish of kina and everything in the world, which causes be'etzem richuk. All these stories cause kivyochol richuk. Yitzchak tries to come and reestablish kirva. And here the Alter Rebbe is saying Melech Basadeh. What's interesting is that obviously Rabbeinu HaKadosh Rabbi Nachman Vegas Chesed Yagen Aleinu is telling us to where should you go out and cry. Also, like the Sadeh, the field, we should learn it. We actually learned this, but before like 90% of you were living here, we learned this mimer from Rav Ginsburg once, speaking about the potency of the Sadeh in Yiddishkeit. This works out perfectly over here. But again, the Sadeh, the place where the king comes to, the Hisgalus of Yud Gimel Midas Rachamim, is to establish Kirvas Elokim, closeness. That's the inyan over here.
Can I say something?
Always.
You're speaking about the Sadeh being a place of loneliness almost, right? We're in the Sadeh all the time, right? But the point is, I think when the Yud Gimel Midas Rachamim coming is, in that place of my loneliness, in Elul, the king is there now. In other words, yeah, it is a place of loneliness. But in Elul, the king is there. He's traveling through. I'm not alone there.
well, you know, Shlomo used to say that if you want to know who you are, so look where do you go when you're running away. So we all know that we run away to different places, but if I can run away to Sadeh because I want to find Hashem.
Be'ez Hashem. So we have to know what do we do there. This is the Alter Rebbe is not just speaking about a place of, oh, this is a nice place and it resembles something. He's saying there's avodas nefesh, there's actual work to do in this place called Hamelech Basadeh, and that's what we're trying to understand. Trying to draw down the Lamaisa over here. So now let's stick on the bottom. We're gonna read the Maimer right now through the Perush, okay? Kihine Ksiv. The bold print obviously is the Maimer itself. It's Perek Sheni. Kihine Ksiv. And when I was going over this, I had such I have to do such tshuva over. For me, Birkas Kohanim, because this is something that I have to really be in tune with every single day, right? Ki hine ksiv yar Hashem panav elecha. Like, what am I actually saying when I say that? Besides knowing that I'm saying hopefully the right words, right? Ki hine ksiv yar Hashem panav elecha. This inyan of Hashem shining His face to you. I'm dafka using that lashon, okay? Hashem shining His face to you. Shehu inyan he'aras yud gimel midos. This is what it means, that the illumination of the 13 attributes of mercy, sheyeh panim bepanim. That'll be face to face. Ya'er Hashem panav elecha. Hashem shalom. What does it mean that your panim is face to face with Hashem? What do we know about panim bepanim? Right. Although there's a lashon that is used by Moshe Rabbeinu. It's very interesting. Peh, but not necessarily panim. Right. Okay, so let's continue with the Perush over here. Al he'aras yud gimel midos rachmim nemar yar Hashem panav elecha ve'inyan he'aras panim dilemala. What does it mean, he'aras panim up there? There's no af she'en lo guf velo dmusa guf chas v'shalom hu kemashal shnei. This is a beautiful mashal. This is alluded to this parable too. Shnei bnei adam ohavim ha'omdim panim bepanim. Lovers that love each other, that are standing face to face. She'ein ze rak kiruv chitzoni. This is not just outer closeness. She'omdim ze etzel ze bekiruv makom, because we're close to each other. Ela zeu kiruv pnimi. This is inner closeness. שבפנימיוס לבבם מרגישים היסקרבוס והיסקשרוס עמוקה זה לזו, זו לזה, right? That inside of their hearts, in the inner chamber of their hearts, they feel closeness and connection to one and another. You know how we say that sometimes you can be in a room with a bunch of people and they're looking at each other, but it's all, you don't feel anything? So are you close to that person? Yes, but it's called hiskarvus chitzonis. It's not called hiskarvus pnimis. We have that all the time in life. Now go down to the footnote 16 on the bottom. I told you, today we're going to have to do a lot of root work to understand these musagim, but it's good. It's very good. Lehoyer mebiru kvod kedushas admor harayatz. We're gonna what's that? Yeah, we're gonna bring out from a beer that the Frierdiker Rebbe brings out from a letter b'michtav harav hakadosh Reb Pinchas Mikuritz la'Rav Magid, a letter that Reb Pinchas of Kuritz wrote to the Rav Magid. You know, this morning I was having such gaguim to our traveling in Ukraine, because we've been Chasdei Hashem. You know, we've been to both Reb Pinchas of Kuritz and we've been to the Magid of Mezrich already a number of times. Okay.
Yesterday.
Yeah. Yud. Reb Pinchas Kuritz is Yud. Yeah. So the letter that Reb Pinchas of Kuritz wrote to the Magid, Shehirgish mirachok kasher hamagid he'ela oto al machshavosav b'yom HaKippurim. Reb Pinchas of Kuritz wrote to the Magid. He says, "Listen, I want you to know, I was very aware that when you brought me into the Pnimius Yerlev during Yom Kippur, I felt it." Now that's a hiskarvus pnimius. That happens when you're bichlal not in front of each other. So that's already a heilige madrega, that you could actually say, "Wow, you know, when you thought about me, I felt it." That's pnimius alev on a very high madrega. Let's start with pnimiut alev when I'm in front of you. When I'm in front of you, let's start with that. Nachon? That'd be a good place to start with, right here, right now, right? Okay, the Hainu. You know, I saw this the other night. This wedding I told you, it was a wedding of a very, very special family that we're very close to. We actually have one of his Sifrei Torah in our shul, Nachman Federman, Zichrono Livracha. His younger son, Moshe Federman, got married, and Reb Chaim Kramer came to he showed up right in the middle of the Sheva Brachas, and as soon as they spotted him, they called him up for Bracha Revius. So I was holding the brachas under the chuppah for whoever was being called up. And Chaim came up. I said to him, Bracha Revius. So I was holding I was going to hold the page. He just obviously said it immediately by heart, right away, and was looking at the chassan. And you saw over there, kirva pnimis. It was he'aras panim. There was such closeness. Everyone felt so close at that moment. He goes, it was amazing. He showed up, got the bracha, finished the chuppah, and this is not in Yerushalayim. He schlepped out to Modi'in, turned right around afterwards and went back. Pnimis, his kavos he'aras panim. The whole crowd's like, but anyone that knows him knows he could pull this stuff out. If I told him, read the ksuba by heart, he would just say, okay, what are the names? Give him the names, he'll probably say the ksuba, the lashon of the ksuba by heart. Find out how much was the sach, Amisuyam, right? Zeu, gamarnu. Okay, so back up on top in the bold, not on top, but in the parish, but the bold print. Dehainu, sheyair gilui pnimius ritzono yisbarach lemekor nishmos Yisrael. I want you to think about these words. Sheyair gilui pnimius ritzono yisbarach, that God should reveal the innermost, deepest meaning of His ratzon to the source of Nishmas Yisrael. Al yedei sheyeh ikar pnimius ritzono elav yisbarach ledafka bo belev v'nefesh me'omka deliba b'mesiras nefesh k'mo shekosav makom acher. To the extent that when I find out, really for real, what Hashem wants from me, that closeness produces a level that's called Masirat Nefesh, where I'm then acting, when I'm ready to be Masirat my Nefesh, like the Tanya says, what parak is it, David? When he talks about where a Yid's willing to just Masirat their Nefesh, in its Milamala Metam Vadas, whatever, it's above Tam Vadas even. Now, when am I willing to give my life for someone? When am I willing to give my life for someone? When it's revealed to me deep inside how much they mean to me and what they want in this world. If I ask you right now, what does Hashem want? So we would give the answers that we know to the best of our... I mean, I can go in a circle right now. I'll just ask like 3 people right now, okay? Yossi, what does Hashem want from you right now?
He wants me to be close to him.
If He wants you to be close to Him, how?
By mimicking his perfection.
By mimicking His perfection. The Seder. Yosef, what does Hashem want from you right now?
Glorify His name.
To glorify His name. How? Well, okay, Beseder Gamur. Yeshua.
No idea.
Ah, I was waiting for it.
I'm a real guy.
I was waiting for this.
I learned Baruch Hashem yesterday. Know what to say.
What do I like? Yar Hashem panav elecha means that what Hashem wants from you should be revealed to you in the clearest way. That's what the Kohen is doing to the Am. Yar Hashem panav elecha vichoneka. What Hashem wants of you, and also how to do it, and how to establish that to be something that happens in my life, is the deeper kavana of Yar Hashem panav elecha vichoneka. Sheyair gilui. What does he say here? Yair gilui pnimius v'tzana yisbarach l'mekor nishmas Yisrael. Look at the Perush. V'kach banimshal. Inyan yair Hashem panav elecha hu. What does this mean? That Hashem should enlighten His face to you. Ka'asher pnimius v'tzana yisbarach me'ira v'nirgeshes b'nishmas Yisrael. When the pnimius of the Ratzon of Hashem is enlightened, is illuminating, and is felt in the neshamas of Am Yisrael. וזה בא על ידי שבני ישראל פונים אליו יתברך בכל פנימיוסם. As much as the Kohen blesses you, it really only comes when you ask for it from the deepest place in the world. Ribono shel olam. Be'emet, what do you want from me? You know, I have this ongoing conversation with my chevrusa. You know Noam. I've talked about him a lot, Noam Banai. We have this ongoing conversation if Hanan Ben Ari's song is really holy or there's a problem with it. Which one? He has one of his songs, it's called Ma Tarotzeh Mimeni. Do you guys know this one? So Ma Tarotzeh Mimeni could be a very much like, Ma Tarotzeh Mimeni, right? That's not Ikar Gilui Pnimius Ritzona Yisbarach Shmei, right? Or it could be Ribono Shel Olam. You know, Ani Be'emet Rotzeh Ladat, Ma Tarotzeh Mimeni. And to sing that like that, Ani Be'emet Rotzeh Ladat, Ma Ata Rotzeh Mimeni. What do you want from me? What do you really want from me? So a Yid has to ask. They see, and Misnagid never asked that. Sorry to say this. Misnagid never asks that question. Why? He doesn't have to. Yeah, I told you the story when I was in somewhere, not Israel or America, Erev Yom Kippur. I went to this big Rav's house. I was staying by him. It was Shabbos Shuvah. No, it was Shabbos Slichas. It was Shabbos Slichas. And I saw that he had this beautiful pond outside his front door, like a gorgeous pond. I said, wow, what a perfect place for a tashlich. He said, oh, we don't do that. I said, why? He's like, I don't have any averas. I don't have anything to throw in there. Now, I was like, but I saw that he wasn't laughing, so I was just like, okay, I'm not going here. Right? Because if I'm doing everything the book says, so I don't have to. I don't have to do tashlich, and B's, I don't have to ask ma tarotzeh meni because I'm doing ma tarotzeh meni. Nachon? And a chassid's like, there's no way that I'm gonna say that only if I'm keeping halacha that I'm covering all grounds. Lo yachol liot. That can't be ikar gilui pnimius halev. It can't be.
But there's a beauty to it still. There's such a beauty to it.
If it wasn't cynical, yeah.
Right. But no, I mean, like the beauty, the simplicity of being like, oh, I'm good. Like, alavai. I mean, it doesn't draw the depth of the depth.
There is an akuda there.
Who's living in Chutzlaritz?
Let's just say there's an akuda. I'll take it. There's an akuda there. There is. There's an akuda there.
Is it being simple or is it being ignorant?
So I don't know. A chassid has to hold on to tmimus with every ounce of his being, but he also can't ignore when he learns a Torah like this. Like, wait a second, there's a whole lot more than just making a checklist. Mark, there's so much more.
Well, tamimut means tam nishlam. It's incomplete. So I don't know if it's completeness.
I like that it covers both. Tam over there, yeah, could be.
We feel that only in Yom Kippur, no? When you're like,
A chassid?
Like, but I mean, the idea that today is the happiest day. It is. You are forgiven. Like, let's go on, weiter.
Right,
Because
but
there
if
is a love that
you have to establish that itzumo shel yom mechaper. This mimer of the Alter Rebbe speaks all about this. Ki bayom hazeh yechaper aleichem. It's phenomenal mimer. I hope we get to do it this year. You have to have that in mind, just like itzumo shel yom mechaper. You have to believe in the potency of the day, but you also have to believe that Hashem is waiting for you every single day to ask Him, Ma ata be'emet rotzeh mimeni. That's established. See, what's missing from that first level? Kirva, feeling close. I could be told that I'm close, but here he's speaking about, again, v'kach b'nimshal inyan yar Hashem panav elechahu. Kasher pnimius retzono, what Hashem really, really wants is me'ira v'nirgeshes v'nishmas Yisrael. It's felt. It's shining in me. What you want from me, is not only something that I know that it says in Siman Shin Gimel. It's shining into me right now. What you want from me.
Sometimes people feel that when they're actually sitting down and they are learning.
I hope so. But it's also like the Alter Rebbe says in Ma'im Rabim, it's also when I'm going out to work. That's the ideal. It's also when I'm engaged in anything that I'm doing in this world. V'zeh ba, third line. This comes the ba al yedei shebnei Yisrael ponim elav yisbarach bechol pnimiyusam sheyirtzu ledavka bo yisbarach bepnimiyus nafsham umeumka deliba ad kedei mesiras nafsham avuro yisbarach sheaz mida keneged mida. Wow. And then what happens when I come before the Rebbeinu Shalom with the all of me and saying, I really want to know what it is that you really want from me. Mida keneged mida, zochim leharas panim alionim. You merit this revelation of the higher face, which means gilui hapnimius shel ora eloki. See, the Rebbeinu Shalom is waiting for you to come to that moment of saying, I want to know what you really want from me in this world. Do you know what Hashem is whispering back to you? He's saying, do you realize that this, what just happened right now, is what you really want to be busy doing the rest of your life? You hear that? You hear what we just said? That moment of your he'aras panim, isarusa dilatata, ani ledodi. Hashem is saying, but this, I want you to remember this moment right now. You just cried out to me. You said, Ma tarotzei meni, in the holiest way. This is who you are. This defines you. This is who you really are. That's kamayim apanim lepanim. This is the reflective. This is ani ledodi vedodi li, but it's a whole month of ani ledodi. It's not a moment. It's a whole month of it. It's every morning, erev boker v'tzarayim. It's every single day. It's all the time. Now, to even get this point drilled in deeper, go down to footnote 17. This is a ikar. This is a big ikar. Pnimiyus harotzon v'chitzoniyus harotzon, because we're going to see these concepts throughout the writings of the Alter Rebbe. Pnimiyus harotzon, the inner will, and the chitzoniyus harotzon, the outer will. It's going to start off very simple. What's the difference between the two? Ha'evdel ben pnimiyus v'chitzoniyus harotzon hu. Pnimiyus harotzon hi ma she'adam rotzeh mitzad atzmo lefi shezoi hana'asa. What does it mean, an inner will? It's something that I want, because that thing that I want brings me joy. We're not saying yet if it's good or bad. We're just defining what it is. Ma she'en ken chitzoniyus harotzon hu ma she'rotzeh kedei la'asig matara acheret. Chitzoniyus harotzon is, I want this because it will lead me to this. If we could figure out these and put this in priorities in our life, we'll have a lot of seder in the way we conduct ourselves in business and relationships, in Yiddishkeit and everything. He's going to continue to explain this. Lamashal, Adam hamisyageh v'melacha b'shvil parnasasa. Person that works so hard for his parnasa. Now let's say right now that we're not talking about a person whose parnasa is in Klei Kodesh, because that can get us a little bit confused. Let's say it's a person, and not in real estate in Eretz Yisrael, because that's like Klei Kodesh. Or it's a mulek. We haven't figured out yet which one it is. But let's bring a profession right now that has not that you can't say this is what I want because this itself brings me enjoyment.
I sell stuff on.
Traveling buttons.
A cobbler.
Traveling button salesman, very good, like one of those. Okay. A person that's working hard with his trade so that he can make money. Hare pnimius ritzono, what does he really want? Schar melachto, the money that he's going to make. Shemimeno mefarnes es bnei beso, because the money that I make is how I provide food on the table for my family. We should all be zocha with Sheva Parnasa this year. And all of your maasers should finish everything we need for the shul and more.
Amen. Amen.
Got to be a little bit stronger, amen, for that last one. Okay. Ve'igiyosli melachto, but his actual toiling in the melacha to get the job right, he chitzonius retzono. That's not the pnimius of his ratzon. That's the outside of his ratzon, to get the job done right. He doesn't, this is not really what he wants. If he didn't need the money, he wouldn't work in what he's doing right now. His whole kavana is regarding the reward which will come from it. Next column on the bottom, Bekach kivyochol etzlo yitbarach. This is, so to speak, how it is by the Ribbon Shalom. Pnimius ritzono yizbarach hi bnei Yisrael. This is such a beautiful line. Pnimiut ritzono yitbarach of Hashem is you and me. His ratzon is you and me. Shem tachlis habriya. This is the purpose of creation. כמאמר חז"ל, שהעולם נברא בשביל ישראל, אלא שבשביל עבודת בני ישראל עלי אדמות, יש צורך לברוא עולם ומלואו עם כל פרטי הברואים. But for the sake of the avodah of Bnei Israel on this world, there's a need to create a whole world filled with all different types of creations. שרק אז יש מקום לעבודת בני ישראל עם בחירה חופשית, לבחור בטוב ורע, because that's the only way mitzad atzmeinu, that there could be only hatzdaka for our kiyum by choosing. So Hashem had to add all these other things so that we can utilize our sense of being created and use it and exercise our free will and choose to serve Hashem. Ubahem nimtza rak chitzonius haratzon. Now, this is very much open to interpretation. What falls under the category of chitzonius haratzon according to this parish? What does that include? No, chitzonius haratzon. Bnei Israel is pnimius haratzon.
No, but he's saying is we have the choice to make. We have a choice. Each of us has a choice, right? But by saying by him, it could either be talking about the last previous statement, which is Bnei Israel,
right?
Or it could be talking about the people, the rest of the world.
Right. So I'm saying like this. According to this, under the category here, pnimius haratzon mitzad Hashem is. Let's be clear. Is us. Forget spirituality, and I'm not talking about spiritual and materialism. Pnimius haratzon, according to this, is Am Yisrael. Listen, this is end of thinking right now. I'm giving you a hint. End of Perek Aleph Tanya. What's chitzonius haratzon? Mitzad Hashem.
Also us. Because he uses us to get closer.
The way he's explaining it here is different. Huh?
No.
The rest of the world.
That's the chitzonius?
The way he just explained it right now
Right.
is the rest of the world. Look at the next line. Ki en retzono yitbarach bahem gufa. Listen, the hippies hate this stuff. They can't deal with this stuff. This last line is, remember the famous parish of the Alter Rebbe of Steinsaltz on this line? Rav Steinsaltz writes in the end of Perek Aleph. Remember, the end of Perek Aleph in Tanya is, if you can get past Perek Aleph, you'll be fine. But the end of Perek Aleph is very hard for someone that's more of a universalistic approach and looking at things a little bit bigger. And that inyan there speaks about that where the shorish neshamas of Umos HaOlam come from. And it's a very hard thing to say because the Alter Rebbe says over there, Ligramayu Avid. That means that what they do in this world essentially is for themselves. Okay? So when the Alter Rebbe was interrogated, there's one of the questions that the interrogators asked him after reading the manuscript was, they asked him a bunch of questions, interrogating him for hours. But one of the questions they asked him is, okay, listen, everything else maybe you can get out of, but how do you explain that last line that you wrote in Perek Aleph? What are you saying about us? So Rav Steinsaltz writes, there's two girsas of what happened at this moment. One of them was that the Alter Rebbe said to them, I answered you so clearly every single question you had. Do you guys really want me to answer this one too? And the other Girsa, Rosh Steinsaltz says that he just looked at them and went like this. And just grinned. So this concept, and this is so beautiful, mitzah, think about it now. I know it's hard for some of us because this is not a push thing to accept. This is a very difficult piece. The way he's describing your pnimiyus haratzon is you and I are pnimiyus haratzon. But in order to get access to our own pnimiyus haratzon, Hashem Yisbarach had to create everyone else and everything else, but that's not Ribbono Shlem's pnimiyus haratzon, it's his chitzoniyus haratzon. Because it's a means to get to the goal. Say that?
Practically, again, meaning, so like, he's Chisonios Haratzon?
We're all
You guys are pushing me to say something I don't want to say. And I don't know if you've picked up on it. I don't want to say it. Do you want to say it instead of me? Or you could say it more politically correct.
He's saying
The
basically,
first part of the mashal is somebody who's making a living, right? So he gets on the plane, he goes, he travels, he wants to close this big deal, but at the end of the day, he doesn't. That's all chitzonius. Why? Because but panemius, what does he want to close the deal for? Why did he travel on that plane? Why did he do all these things? It's to give him parnasa for his family, right?
Let's say to give love to to provide safety and love for his family.
Yeah, in his life he wants to do all these things, and there's a whole crazy. But the panemius, if you scrape it all away, it's really just to give love and support his family. So too in this world, the Kadosh Baruch Hu created. He created a playing field, right? So there's a playing field, and there's a crowd, and there's grass, and there's bases, and there's an umpire, and they're selling cotton candy, and they're selling popcorn. But at the end of the day, what's it about? It's about those players scoring runs. So, yeah, you needed the whole playing field, right? But it's really about us doing mitzvahs. So why are there a billion people in China? I don't know, to confuse me. Why are there... It's all...
or to enable us.
Or to help me, or to enable us to reach my Pneumius
Exactly.
Okay, but why is that? So
Otherwise,
yeah.
If
But you also kind of dodged
it.
it.
We just do his will like angels, right? But instead, he creates a whole
He
place. So
gives us the
in that
people.
shut
It's-
say
it's-
that.
Tell it like it is.
Huh?
You shut it off and tell it
No,
like it
no,
is.
I'm not. This is Hainu Hach.
He's
Chaverim.
giving us the people around us to enable us to be successful, whatever that may be. It means whether we're interacting with non-Jews or Jews and whatever it is.
No.
Only
That's
non-Jews.
not what he's saying.
Okay.
That's the problem. If that's what he was saying, that's not a problem.
But even our interactions with Jews themselves are also to see ourselves and to prove ourselves as well. But obviously the non-Jews are there for us to kind of benefit from or whatever.
Again, it's still beautiful PC stuff, but again, we're still not. Again, I'm going to say it straight out. He says over here, this parish, and this is the way it's miskabel in Lubavitch. Okay, this is the way it's miskabel. This makes it very hard for many people to get through. He's saying, see, it's not Yeshua Bar-On. He's part of Pnimiyus HaRatzon. Why? Because he falls under the category of what Hashem directly wants. Pnimiyus HaRatzon. According to the way this is brought down, the non-Jewish world falls under the category of Chitzonius HaRatzon. There. And everything else. Now, you could look at that statement and say, what a derogatory, what a disgusting thing. But when you look at it with Pnimiyus HaRatzon, you think the Alter Rebbe hated non-Jews? Chas v'sholom. Do you think that's bichlal not that? See, we live in such in an era that because we're so terrified of, God forbid, sounding what people may define us to be as whatever, we don't allow ourselves to even take on these lenses that the Alter Rebbe is speaking about, which will eventually lead us to understanding Pnimius Ratzon Hashem. This is what Hashem is like, the Pnimius of His Ratzon. Wouldn't you do anything to discover what that is? Now I get the problem, and my friend went to Reb Shlomo once with this, and said to him, how do you reconciliate this Inyan? So he said, now this is Kli Shlishi. So I don't quote this that often. I'm already saying right now it's Kli Shlishi. Well, Kli Sheni. Slicha. I'm Kli Sheni. What is the Kli Sheni? He said, it was after a session that Yeshua, you were with him in Yakar, and I hope I could find this one day. He said that there are different types of neshamas being brought down to the world these days. This is 30 years ago, than it was in the time of the Baal HaTanya. Now, I could relate to that. Why? Because you know where there aren't new neshamas being brought down in this world? When we've been to Ukraine, you remember that one of those walks we had from the Baal Shem Tov shul to go to the mikveh or something? And we saw this guy wake up at 6 a.m. and was yanking his cat smashing his cat against the wall. Do you remember that? One of these walks? It was when we went on the wagon, when we all went on that. There are places, and if that's what it was like everywhere back then, I would think the same thing. 100%. So that's how he explained it. But to get back to over here, that's not the point. The point isn't to decipher what types of neshamas are coming down to the world today. The point right now is to be connected to Yare Hashem Panav, Eilecha Vichunecha, Pnimiyut Haratzon. But it takes so much guts to say to Hashem, to sing that song with the real kavana. Ma tarotzeni meni. Hashem is saying, you really want to know? Are you sure you want to know?
You might not like the answer.
Are you sure you want to know? But when Ani Ledodi is turned on, and I'm saying it, and I ask myself every day, do I really want to know? I know there's no other way, Hashem. There's no other way. Do I really want to know? Yes, I really want to know. En baya. He'aras panim bepanim. Ani Ledodi, and then Malchus Hashem is going to come down, Vedodi li, and then it's going to be back with a He'aras Gilui Pnimius Ritzona Yisbarach. So that's a very heavy thing. Now, when it comes to, and then it says over here in the Maimer that this will bring a person to Masirat Nefesh, right?
Is there any more extreme statement than first Rashi and the Rashis? According to the story, it's the same thing, no?
That the Ummah Sa'olam coming to you and saying, Kacha la b'ritzona yisbarach? Is there anything more? No? I mean, again, I think it's the same exact Nikud. It's just what we've done in this world, that we're so scared to believe in this concept of Banim Atem Hashem Elokechem, B'ni Bechori Yisrael, and we're trying to make sure everyone feels safe and everything. No, there's no difference. There's no difference at all. Ma pitom. Ata b'chartanu. Yeah, you know what? You know what some chevra have changed it to? You're not going to believe it. You're not going to believe it. I'll tell you. Forget the word mikol ha'amim. Change it over there. Ata b'chartanu im kol ha'amim. Promise you. Asher b'char.
It's self-contradicting.
Asher. Right. So no. Because really everyone's chosen.
Right, no, but it's not.
So no one's chosen.
Everybody's special, nobody's special.
Everyone was that?
Everyone's a winner.
Everyone went. So it's so let's go dance and sing kumbaya, huh?
Participation award.
Right. But זה לא זה.
Someone in my office one time asked me, "You think you're better than me?" I'm like, "No, I know." Like, what? Like, yeah. I know the truth it hurts. It stinks. I'm sorry, but yeah.
Was he Jewish?
No.
Oh, I'm kidding. Now, there's one more, before we finish for today, there's one more Nakuda over here, okay? This is important. Go back to the bold type over here. The Hainu Sheya in the middle. The Hainu Sheyair Gilui Pnimius Ritzono Yisbarach. Lemekor Nishmas Yisrael al Yidei Sheyeh Ikar Pnimius Ritzono Elav Yisbarach Ledavka Bo Belev V'Nefesh Be'umka Deliba B'Mesirus Nefesh. This place that we're getting to of He'aras Panim Bepanim, right, that we've been speaking about, will bring you to act in ways that you can't intellectually or rationally explain. Like you were supposed to have the kavanah this morning when you said Shema, right? Each of you, I'm sure, had a meditation, visualization of jumping into a fire for God, right? Like the Namalei Melech writes in the Tzedel Cotton, right? Of course. Now, what does it mean if I'm not on that level yet, or it doesn't provide itself in front of me? Although, you know what I think about whenever I see Menachem with a gun? Is that he's willing to do that for me. Like whenever I see our chaverim here on the Shmirat team or whatever, like they're living every day, every single day for them is like a bechina of that. Okay, for me, for Hashem obviously, but for me, for you and I. But what does it mean on a lamaisa level? So go down to footnote 18. That's why I told you the footnotes today are ikar. Hen mesirus nefesh b'muvan ha'pashut. This can literally be meaning that the gilui ratzon will lead me to mamish, be willing to give my nefesh, okay? Liot muchan limsor et chayav al kiddush Hashem. But spiritually speaking, vehen mesirus nefesh b'muvan ruchani. What does it mean to spiritually give your nefesh? This is the deepest two words of the day. Mesiras Haratzon, which for some people is much harder than physical Mesiras Nefesh. What's spiritual Mesiras Nefesh? What's Mesiras Haratzon?
Making his Ratzon your Ratzon.
Batel Ratzoncha mipnei Ratzono, kedei sheyivatel Ratzon achirim mipnei Ratzonecha, right? Ein davar amed bifnei Ratzon. Batel Ratzoncha mipnei Ratzono. So, Mesiras Haratzon, this is a very, very, the Chevra, our Christian brothers and sisters, there's a lot of musagim they kind of kidnap from us. This concept of giving your will, like even when you say those words, it has a shmef because of 2,000 years of galus of the other Chevra, right? But in Indian of Mesiras Haratzon, this is like a very fundamental concept in Chassidus. What does it mean, Mesiras Haratzon? It means waking up in the morning and saying, Ribono Shel Olam. It's going to be impossible for me today to conquer every single one of my ritzonos because I'm so naturally on automatic already with what I want. All my time, everything's already automatic. There's a Kabbalah to say at that moment. It's funny, we're having a lot of Kabbalahs with Maidani. By the way, who took it on this Shabbos? No one? I have to remind you again. Modani Lefanecha. You did it, yeah. Shaul. Modani Lefanecha. Shabbos morning, because it's Neshama Yitera. Modani Lefanecha Melechai V'Keyam Shechezarta Bi Nishmotai. So what's a Kabbalah you could have with this? When you wake up in the morning, you say Mesiras Haratzon. So Hashem Yisbarach. I'm saying right now, I know I'm not going to do it to the best, but I'm giving over my will to you. I'm just giving over my will to you. Now, Lemaisa, what that looks like, we don't know until we've incorporated into the way we conduct ourselves from morning to night, all these Torahs we're learning. Constant revisiting of Mesiras Haratzon. That's how he explains Mesiras Nefesh b'muvan haruchni. Because many people learn these Torahs and they're like, you know what? I don't live in Germany 1935, in Poland 1939. I don't live in Eretz Yisrael of 1967. So when so unfortunately, we still do have situations here where the opportunity.
Well, Mesiras Nefesh could be just, in this case, Mesiras Nefesh could be like you're in a situation where it's either you go daven with a minion or you go, spend time with your family because, whatever the situation. That's also Mesiras Nefesh, just the same as Mesiras Ratzon. Like you want to daven with a minion, but your family or some other situation like that where you're on vacation or whatever. That's also Mesiras Nefesh.
Well, how do you know it is or not?
But depending on how much you do and how badly do you want to, give up on that matter.
Oh, wait. No, based on today's learning, how would you know if it's Mesiras Nefesh or not? If before you already were able to get willing to write off minyan to help your family, if you first spent like an hour crying to Hashem, Ya'er Hashem panav elecha v'choneka, like what's your gilui ritzona Yisbarach? That's how it works. Like we're very fast to say, listen, this is probably not just this dugma, a lot of different things.
I'm saying you don't have to be living in a situation like you said, 1967.
Nachon, that's called Mesiras Haratzon. That's very good. But the problem is that I have to be very careful with defining what's Mesiras Haratzon. When it comes to Mesiras Nefesh, it's clear to me. What does it mean? It means being moser your nefesh physically, that you're willing to die for Am Yisrael. According to the Pshat, how it is over here. Mesiras Haratzon, I have to cry to Hashem all day long, every single day, Ani ledodi, Isarusa dilatata, what mata rotzeh mimeni in the most deepest way, what do you really, really want from me, in order to have a hasaga of what Mesiras Nefesh means, b'muvan ha'pnimiyot. So, ha beha talya, it's dependent on each other to really, really know how to have Mesiras Nefesh b'muvan haruchni, but the way he described it to us till now, is that if I spend my time really asking the Ribono Shel Olam, ma ta rotzeh mimeni, more and beyond the letter of the law, right? Not instead, chas v'chalila. Always, in addition, in collaboration, together with the letter of the law, I'll have a chance to be moser my nefesh every single day. Every single day, 1,000,000 times a day, because I'm going to be constantly being moser my ratzon. Rabbi Yitzchak Bender's Chis Yagen Aleinu, the tzaddik in Breslov, from the last generation, he had a Kabbalah. He said, you could do Mesiras Nefesh every single meal. Never, ever finish what's on your plate. He said, take it to the dogs. Let that be the problem you have in life. I'm talking about one last
Like the Rambam says, 80%.
One last layer of cheese or so, I don't know what, whatever it is, right? One last piece of tofu for the chaver that are having a hard time today's year, whatever it is, right? Like one sliver, one piece of, I don't know what it is. One last meatball in the bowl, yes. Like one last, right? He's saying, why? Because it's clear to anybody that has food in front of them, they want it. Masirat Nefesh, I could do that every single meal. I could do it every single meal. I could do Masirat Nefesh. I think it starts with those small things that are actually very big things, but it starts with those small things, and more of that will enable us to live a life fully of Masirat Nefesh, and hopefully, have an inkling of an idea more and more of Matarot Semeni. Now you realize that we only learned today 3 lines of the Alter Rebbe inside, and the rest was just Pirushim, but that's just as important because we must get these fundamental topics clear to us as possible in order to go weiter. What we're going to continue with on Monday is explaining Ma ze kashur liyud gimel midot harachamim. What does this actually have to do with the illumination of the 13 attributes of mercy? So we'll continue from that next time. And anyone that wants to get this sefer, I have to go to Breslov to get the Shabbos farm. There's some more orders. If anyone wants me to get for them what we're learning, I'll be happy to pick them up. Okay? This is Chassidus Mevo'eres. This sefer is unbelievable. And you'll have this for all the Yom Tovim, different Mamarim for all the Yom Tovim. And you'll have Rachmanis on my copy machine too. So. All right, Yeshar Koach, everyone.